Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another edition of MJ Everyday, a training-based episode for you guys today. Those of you who follow my workouts on the MassiveJoes Snapchat and my personal Instagram at Joseph Mencel, you would know that last night, Boss Josh and I went to the gym for our leg workout and we trained just hamstrings. No quad movements, no specific glute movements, no squats, no leg press, none of those typical leg movements. We went to the gym and we just trained hamstrings. And I had a lot of you hit me up on my personal Instagram DM asking about this workout, asking about, man, like, you know, where did you pick the exercises from? How did you put that workout together? You know, how do you even do a hamstring workout? For most people, you'll throw some laying leg curls into a leg workout, or some stiff leg deadlifts, or some good mornings into a leg workout. But to actually go and build a hamstring workout entirely from the ground up to comprise a whole workout is a whole different strategy and a different mindset behind it. So I wanted to shoot this episode on MJ Everyday and really drill deep down into hamstrings and give you guys some workout tips, some hamstring workout tips. So first things first, we have to understand the primary functions of the hamstring muscles, of the muscles in our hamstrings. Now, hamstrings are responsible for a lot of different movements, a lot of different lower body movements and some upper body movements that they tie into as well. But there's two main functions of the hamstring, guys. The first one is hip extension and the second one is knee flexion. So hip extension is any movement where we go from a closed hip position where our torso is fixed and our hips are closed to an open hip position. That's what a hip extension is, going from closed hip to open hip with our torso in a fixed position. Knee flexion is bending our knee. Effectively taking our foot and moving it up towards our glute and bending our knee, and knee flexion is a fancy word for it. So when you consider those two primary functions of the hamstring, it becomes pretty obvious which exercises are going to target each one of those two primary functions. So considering hip flexion to start off with, hip extension to start off with, got my words muddled there, hip extension, we're talking about your stiff-legged deadlifts, whether it's with a barbell or a dumbbell or a machine, if you've got a deadlift machine. We're talking about barbell good mornings. We're talking about hyperextensions. They may be body weight, they may be weighted hyperextensions. We're talking about any movement where you can add resistance to that hip extension movement, to that closed hip to open hip with a fixed torso movement. Those are really one of the primary movements for hamstrings. So you can pick any one of those exercises or multiples of those exercises, as we did in our workout last night, and target that hip extension movement. When we look at knee flexion, there's a little bit more complication to it because you can achieve knee flexion with your hips open and you can achieve knee flexion with your hips closed. So when we look at knee flexion with your hips open, this is where we're really talking about your laying hamstring curls. Your hips are open, you're not in a closed hip position, and you're flexing your knee backwards or you're bending your knee. We're talking about standing hamstring curls where you stay completely upright so that your hips are open, you're not bent over. When we consider your knee flexion with your hips closed, we're effectively talking about any type of seated leg curl. So we're talking about seated hamstring curls. We're talking about even to a not so direct extent, a more compound type movement, as you're talking a feet high leg press. Anything where your hips are in a closed position and you've got the bending of your knee, that's going to target that knee flexion with a closed hip position. So when it comes to putting your hamstring workout together, you want to get at least one exercise that targets at least those three primary different functions of the hamstring. So at least one exercise, usually it's going to be 2 or 3, but minimum one that's going to target the hip extension, minimum one that's going to target knee flexion with your hips open, and minimum one that's going to target knee flexion with your hips closed. You take one exercise that hits each 3 of those functions, you've already got 3 exercises, and then you go back and you might pick another one for a hip extension, another one where your hips are open and you're bending your knee, another one where your hips are closed and you're bending your knee, and before you know it, guys, you've got an entire workout. You got 5, 6, 7 exercises, and you can literally go to the gym and just train hamstrings. Guys, that's how you do it. That's how you put together a hamstring workout. What I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna get Timmy Turner, one of our IT professionals here at MassiveJoes, to throw up the workout from last night on the screen right now so you can see how we went about putting together our workout, and you'll see the exercises that we picked for hip extension, for knee flexion with hips open, for knee flexion with hips closed. So you can see how we went about putting together that workout for last night. But you guys now have the knowledge, so it's completely up to you how you put your own hamstring workouts together. And look, if you don't want to train hamstrings by themselves, I mean, the same principles apply to selecting different hamstring movements to incorporate into a leg workout, or to incorporate into a glute dominant workout, or a quad dominant workout, or whatever type of workout it is. The same principles apply. And guys, that's a wrap for today's episode of MJ Everyday. As always, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, turn your post notifications on, both on your mobile, your cell phone, and your desktop PC, so you don't miss a beat when it comes to the MassiveJoes YouTube channel. I will catch you guys tomorrow for another episode of MJ Everyday. Until then, I'm coming to you from MassiveJoes.com.